But we begin with Pike River and one of only 2 men to survive the explosion in November 2010. Daniel Rockhouse spoke to us from Australia this afternoon. His mother Sonia is one of the protest leaders, of course, as the families of the 29 men killed try desperately to prevent the mine from being permanently sealed. And his brother Ben, who was killed in the explosion, is somewhere inside that mine. Daniel Rockhouse struggled to cope at first with being a survivor. Despite his heroism in saving the other survivor, Russell Smith, he tried new lines of work but felt even more adrift. So now he's back working in a mine in Australia. He told us he wants to become a qualified mines rescue worker, and that when he is one, he would join the right team with the right gear and he would go back into Pike. As for the government and Solid Energy saying that's not going to happen,
mate, I think it's absolutely disgusting that it's getting sealed up. There's absolutely no reason you need to do that, and there's all these professionals and these people with experience, far more experience than anyone like myself or anything like that are saying that you can quite easily and safely recover that drift. And I just think it's wrong what they're doing.
You also said that with the right training and the right equipment, you would be prepared to be amongst that first party going in.
100%, mate. Yeah. I'd be there with all the gear on and ready to go.
What will they find in there, do you think, Daniel?
Mate, I don't know. It's going in there and recovering some of the machinery that's in the drift, some of the electrical equipment that have brains and stuff like that you can do, analysis on and potentially find evidence on what maybe happened, and also, if I'm here today talking to you and Russell's over home doing his thing, we survived. Yes, we were out further than the other boys, but what say that some guys survived as well and attempted to make their own way out and just didn't quite make it, and they're lying in the drift right now. Their bodies and stuff like that. It's people don't know. I'm not saying that there are bodies in the drift, but people don't know. You've got to go and at least try and at least get that far, and and at least then, if you get in there and there's no one there, you can't find anything or anything like that, at least you tried, and at least you know that, hey, they're all up there together. And I can tell you right now that if we were able to reclaim that drift, and that's what happened, all the families will accept that, all right? And it's just not knowing if there's any boys attempted to make their way out, just like me and Russell, and just didn't quite make it. So, yeah.
Daniel, how far in were you?
Sorry?
How far in were you when the explosion happened?
Roughly about 1,800, 1,900 metres.
And the fall is how far? Much further in from you?
At a guess, John, bloody about another 800 metres, and that's a guess. I could be wrong.
Yeah. And how far is Spaghetti Junction from there?
From this side of the fall,
yeah.
Probably 300 metres, 300 metres.
Because there were people.
Fall was quite significant.
Yeah, so. It was significant. But there were people working at Spaghetti Junction. Conrad was there, for example, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah. Well, he just passed me. He was like in my statements that you would have read, and that
yeah.
He was the last guy that I spoke to. So he was passing me as I went through Spaghetti Junction. He asked me a few questions and that, and he went onward. But for all we know, he could be up further up. But the point is, there were other contractors working around Spaghetti Junction area. I don't know how many, but at least 3 or 4, and if people go, oh, they were crushed or something like that from the fall. The fall didn't happen till much later, and yeah, it's beyond me that the New Zealand government are willing to just make this disappear like it never happened, when there's so many men down there that are Kiwis and foreigners, but are just sitting there with it. It's like a unfinished business, like it's frustrating, very frustrating, and upsetting for us. So,
We try and talk to Solid Energy, and they never ever front for an interview, but the minister's fronted from time to time, and he says, and he says it very passionately, that they don't want to put any more lives at risk, and they believe it is a very, very dangerous environment, and that nothing would be gained if by going and more lives were lost.
How do they know? How do they know? Are they mining experts? You know, like I'm standing here today on the phone to you, and I'll sign whatever paperwork to get them out of the shit, so to speak. Stating and willing to, as long as I've got the right training and the right gear to be able to go back into that mine, I will go back in there and I will risk my life to be able to do it. And there's many others. It's not just me. There's many others that are willing to do it as well, and they've got far more experience than me. And it's just not going to go away. And especially my mum and Anna and the rest of the people that are up at that gate day in and day out, like. Those people are unbelievable and just fantastic. They're not going to go away, and the government needs to realise this. So just deal with it. You grow a pair and deal with it. You know, I don't know how else to be any more blunt with you without swearing and stuff. So I'm sorry, but yeah, that's just who I am.
Daniel Rockhouse speaking to us earlier this afternoon.